we're in business.
Go.
Thank you. I'll see you later. Hi. Welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. That's me, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. And if you want to get a hold of me, my email address is psychicfrank11@gmail.com. Something fell out of the drawer. I have things scattered all over the place, and this little skip of paper with 11 information on it, just the last paragraph, said as many people will hate you pretty much as much people will really, really love you. There's sort of like no in the middle. People either get what I'm doing or they totally don't. Anyway, I love them all. I love everybody. But, it's funny how the ones that were really, would come right up in my face and call me a charlatan. Actually, Jason McBride wrote a book about Kathy Acker. It's in the library called, anyway, it's her, and I'm in it. I'm in a lot of it. And a lot of her friends, she kept me separate from her friends who were all writers and hip people, and because they all thought I had too much power over her and I was a charlatan. So, as I said, a lot of people totally don't believe in psychics, and for some reason, they really don't like the good ones. The protons that come from the... welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School, and I'm your host, Psychic Frank. The protons that come from the sun are loaded with high-energy coded information. When you experience them shining on you, these codes get downloaded in you, absorb them, and you can impart your own onto that leaving light as it bounces off of you, that leaving light. So don't complain about, I don't sleep that much, everything's disruptive, I've been irritable. I think if you're irritable, like a lot of us, it's this Mars retrograde. Mars is the planet of how you chop wood, carry water, so I was just checking the time now because, I want to, I just love this. I was so used to doing the shows out of my apartment, and Gabby was my parrot, Gabby Hayes, was constantly upstaging me. Well, she didn't mean to, the sweet thing. But when I get excited like this, she would just take that as a cue to get excited too, because parrots mimic their owners. She's a mini-me, and as I was telling Juvon just a few minutes ago, just the other morning I walked by her cage. Well, it's a small apartment. I walked by her cage a lot, and I said, "Good morning, sweetheart," and she said, "Hi, baby." It's just like, it's like this little green thing that talks. She blows my mind. Okay, Year of the Snake, which a snake... Okay, the main theme now is reconnected to our galactic heritage. This is the huge theme. That's what the solstice was on the 21st of December, setting us up for where we are now. And then we're totally leaving the Pisces, the age of Pisces. The karmic debt has been paid, and we're sliding into the Aries. These are thousands of years, these ages, and so it's all about originality and new Aries, and we're going to talk more about that. So what's being reactivated right now by Pluto, when it was in that degree last December of 2020, that was in zero Aquarius. That's when Saturn and Jupiter were both zero Aquarius. Well, now Pluto is here. That's 2020. Here's 2025. Pluto is in Aquarius, 1-2 degrees. And it's going to be going back and forth to 3 and then back down to 0. So it's firmly in Aquarius now for the next 20 years. So freedom, human rights, civil rights, power struggles you can't say, well, the last time Pluto was in this, it was 500-something years ago, 550-something years ago. America wasn't even founded then. But that's when the French Revolution, there was a lot going on, I believe. Paradigms change. Oh, I did some research, and okay, so let's talk about the snake, because it's the year of the snake. And okay, the snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. As well as minds which are prevented from changing their opinions. They cease to be minds. Nietzsche said that. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali said, if your beliefs are the same as you were when you were 20 and you're 50, you threw away 30 years of your life. Your beliefs should evolve and change. You know, Swami Vivekananda said, don't think by dying you all of a sudden become an angel. This earth is where you work on your character defects. You know, we're all saints, are the sinners that kept on trying. When Trump recites the snake poem, he portrays a snake as a migrant, and in America, and America as the silly woman who takes the reptile in. And he says, "Oh, sweet woman," she sees this frozen snake almost dead. So the kind woman, that's America, takes this reptile, this migrant. And this is the story. Remember in 2016, he told a story about the snake. He says, I saved you, cried the woman, and you've given me a vicious bite. And you know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the snake. And with a grin, you knew damn well I was a snake before you brought me in. In other words, people, he's saying, you knew I was a snake before. Well, now it's time for us to realize that we got, because we're getting bit, you know. But the good news is I wrote down something here that's very important. Yeah, so we're reconnected to our galactic roots. Our heritage theme. Okay, we already covered that. You know, the secret of death is no one dies. That's what I was saying earlier. Swami Vivekananda, and I believe he was so right on that. The photons, P-H-O-T-O-Ns, that come from the sun are loaded with high energetic information. It's so important because everybody's complaining about them. When you experience them shining on you, you know, just surround yourself, and this is happening for me, not to me. You know, the universe is simply a beautiful thought. And there's a lot of trans-channelers around now. I noticed they were big in the 80s. I remember I had a lot of friends with money back then, a lot of trust fund women, you know, thought I wanted a cheap thrill. And then they would take me to see these trans-channelers, and they were really big and they're back now after an absence. And the best of all of them was Pat Rodegeist. She's no longer with us. She had a very short life. I think she died in her 40s. But I saw her on video, and you could tell, you know, the good ones. And Emmanuel's book. And here on page 55, she channels Emmanuel. Yeah, because they would get on stage, and then they would, like, lose themselves and be possessed by... And I remember, you know, one time leaving this auditorium, where it was a really good train. They were in the Castro. They were private parties, invitation only, you know. They were making a lot of money then. And I said to... this one woman, I was walking out of this place. I said to God, what are we talking about? I looked up, I was alone walking to the car or something, and I said to the God, I said, hey, if you think I'm going to do that, you're crazy. You know, I said, I'm not gonna, you know. And then when I started doing readings on camera, when I first got to BAVAC SF Commons, I would watch my videos in the beginning because I wanted to, you know, perfect what I'm doing, like a golfer will watch himself on the golf course on video and then perfect everything. And I noticed when people would call in and I go into my non-local space to do a reading for them, my spine would sort of straighten out and my kundalini would, you know, and now I don't watch me anymore. But Emmanuel says the path, it's on page 55. The path, tasks, teaches, and practices. If everyone in human form chose life for their own growth, then would you say all of humanity is on the spiritual path? Absolutely. It's a beautiful thought, Emmanuel. The entire universe is a beautiful thought, is his reply. Well, that's true. The entire universe is a beautiful thought. Nobody dies. And And the thing is, you know, okay, so let me give you this thing, and then we'll get into the reincarnations and all the Nazis that are reincarnated. Okay, Thursday, okay, so Sunday on February 23rd, 6 p.m., Mars will go direct. See, everybody's like, Mars is go, 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 and now this is wait, 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 and nobody likes to wait. Patience is a virtue, and that we get to take with us when we leave this planet. And most people, don't understand that, They're very impatient, and a lot of them are even proud of, they'll even say, I'm a very impatient person. Like, I'm a very lazy person. I got sidetracked there. So anyway, for a while now, so Mars has been in Leo and then retrograded back into Cancer, where it is now. So there was in November and then in January 3rd, two oppositions, and now of Mars in Leo in opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. The third of these three and final of these three oppositions, Mars is how you chop wood, carry water. It's how you roll. So starting the 23rd of this month, Sunday, 6 p.m. So when we wake up on February 24th, we're going to find like, oh, wow, I got some lead in my pencil. I'm going to be able to do something now, And I watched Pearl Bailey. I met her a few times. She bought me lunch one day when I worked at Sardi's for this big producer back in the 60s, right next door to the St. James Theater. And we met in the elevator. Anyway, and then she recognized me, and then so we became sort of like acquaintances. And then she had this cooking show back then, and she would say when she was cooking things, she would say, "Now, when you're making your greens, don't throw the water away." She says, "You drink that. That'll put lead in your pencil," and I'll never forget that, And so, when you're cooking your greens, don't throw away the water, man. That puts lead in your pencil. And I was watching Christina Cooks the other day on PBS, and I always got my chart and would scrape off the leaves. And then she says, if you do that and you throw away the stem, and then she explained how the nutrients when they're growing go all up that stem, and you're throwing away the most nutritious part of the chart. So now I cut it diagonally there, and it's got a little crunch, but wow, I feel like, wow, you're always learning. I'm pushing 77, and couple of seasons away, but okay, so what's going to happen? Okay, let's get back to Mars. So now it's starting. So Mars is still retrograde. I'm making this on the 7th now for SF Commons, my YouTube channel, which is Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Okay, now I'll write this down. April 17th, Mars enters Leo at 9:21 p.m. And then on April 26th and 27th, Mars will be in its third and final opposition to Pluto, 3 degrees, 48 minutes of Leo. The USA is in an 11-year, because 2025 is 9 for the whole universe, a year of completion. I have a YouTube channel in which I explained about that. It's Psychic Frank's Mystery School, and it's so humanitarian, and everything we're supposed to be doing this year, this administration is not. It's doing the exact opposite on steroids. And and that's going to be a 6-month for the United States, because America's in an 11-month, we're in an 11 years, so we started a whole new 9-year cycle, the United States of America, last year. Now this year, it's going to be 2026. 2026 is the Saturn and Neptune enter Aries for a long, a while, and Pluto, will. We're going to see the sprouts come up of 2026 of the seeds we planted last year. But this year is a very inner year, full of revelations, secrets being revealed, which are usually really stomach turning. But as I said, so that fasten your seatbelt then, because Mars, they say, well, what about Mars, Frank? Well, if you want to know how to misuse anything, like I like the metaphor of a knife. If you grab a knife the wrong way, you by the blade, cut yourself and bleed to death, get an infection, and die a horrible death. But if you pick up a knife correctly, you can carve art, you can cut your vegetables. So this, how do you misuse Mars? Well, just look at what's going on in the world today. It's as simple as that. It's juvenile. It's that we like this guy says here, healing resistance, Kazuhaga, Kazuhaga, and life and training of the nonviolent legacy of Dr. King. And in the very beginning, he says here, number one, the first has to do with because as ineffective a strategy it may be, violence is oftentimes an expression of a yearning to heal. It's a cry for peace. As Marshall Rosenberg says, violence is a tragic expression of an unmet needs. Needs for healing, needs for release, needs to be heard, needs for pain to be legitimized. At times, the level of violence we witness in our society is so great that we may have no choice but to use violence to stop the escalation. But that is no cause for celebration. If a conflict escalates to that level, force should be used with a spirit of mourning that we allowed things to get so out of hand that human beings had to be harmed. A far cry from what we got now of kill, kill, kill. Bomber-ram, remember that one? Yeah, God rest his soul there. So it's time for us now, like, this is a great book, it's out of print now, called The Rag and Bone Shop of the Heart. And it's got a few things in it from James Hillman, and I'm a real James Hillman freak. And just a paragraph out of this last little thing from J.H. James Hillman here. It says, talking about, otherworldly longings become particularly necessary for old age, according to Yeats's, Y-E-A-T-S, Yeats' poem, Sailing to Byzantine. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless he transcends the mortal fall by envisioning eternal images. Yeah, and then at some point, however, we furl the sails and let the questing come to rest. It becomes less a matter of seeking paradise than of receiving its gifts. See, it's time for us to start receiving gifts. And originality, man. This war thing's been done to death, no pun intended. Perhaps this is, because nobody dies, perhaps this too is a surrender. Instead of your knocking on the door, it swings on its own hinge. Or maybe you and the door are both unhinged, no longer on a journey or simply at home waiting for guests. So the great mystical philosopher Platonius, speaking of his relation with the figures of paradise, said, "It is for them to come to me, not for me to go to them." He is, I think he is saying, you don't will yourself upward and out of this world with aesthetic struggle, but rather keep alert visitations. Even this concrete world is full of souls, sings Bob Dylan. Yeah, I won't go to bed at night with things in the sink, because I don't want my angels and guides to see me as a slob, so I always tidy up before I go to bed at night. And I live alone with Gabby, and she doesn't care. She's messy Marjorie there. Okay, so, as I said, welcome Mayor Daniel Laurie. And you sat in this very chair, in this very room. You've had a month or two now, and let's get this out of the way. Okay. You inherited 20 years, Ed Lee, combining the Reign of Terror with that woman, London Breed, and as I said, she She left a mess for you. And you know, I hearing everything Donald Trump's doing now, and every time I hear the word, he's dismantling all these departments, these vital departments, and he's just totally dismantling them. Well, in San Francisco, we had our own Donald Trump. Her name was London Breed, and this was a woman who didn't go to medical school. And oh yeah, Uranus, the planet of revolution, and she's sudden shocks, reversals, surprises, truth coming to light, secrets being revealed, awakenings, Kundalini energy, activating the third eye. This all symbolism of this Uranus now is the head going through the hips as the planet Uranus giving birth to this new you. So as I said, it was Mr. Lee. They were like the head. He's no longer a big cheese at the General Hospital, but he did many research. It's dedicated a lot of his life to doing research with cannabis and addicted people and whatnot. And many people, professionals, laymen, survivors of horrible addictions, and we were all packed into the federal building. But London Breed had packed that whole auditorium. Well, it was a small space, but we were standing on each other. People were giving their 5 minutes to, especially these doctors, and the staff sitting up there, like I don't know what, already made up their mind. Maybe one woman, one supervisor was on our side, on the side of intelligence, and the rest had all been strict orders by London Breed that no, it was, she admitted she's against harm reduction, and harm reduction was a good thing. You know, it still is, and these people are still around. But you're just going right to the effects. Okay, it's a big effect, and it's got to be dealt with. But at least get some input in how we can incorporate. What if San Francisco was known as the healing capital of the world instead of like when I moved here in the '60s? It was, if the world's a, Barbara Walters said, well, if it's true the world's a stage and San Francisco's the cast party, well, I decided that's for me. And as soon as the draft board said I wasn't going to Nam, I packed my bags and here I am. So, but it's not that world anymore now. It's a different world. And you know, Barbara Lee, God bless her. I hope Senator Barbara Lee, excuse me, madam. And she looked at the camera recently and said cannabis should never have been, illegitimately criminalized rather. That's what she said. Cannabis, and she's running for mayor of Oakland. So I hope she gets in, you know. But it really has been, as I said, it was President Obama on his stimulus package gave money to buy the original equipment. Sure, it's upgraded now, so that money's gone. But the original equipment on the stimulus package came to permit. But London Breed made some kind of contract with, I don't know, the dark side, eventually Comcast, and they immediately quit tagging our shows. And then the real rub was, you could look it up, it's on the computer, because of the trouble that Obama, but if Obama wanted to cut SF Commons tagging our shows, it was pretty much the death sentence, because people couldn't see what shows were on. You know, it's called tagging. And because we weren't worth it. Comcast, okay, Bayvac is supposed to be a nonprofit. I believe they are. Well, these are all facts, though. Comcast demanded $8,000 a month to tag our shows. And the heads of Bayvac said, no, that's, what are you, crazy? They didn't say, like, but for these people? Yeah, because we fell through the cracks. Well, you know what? SF Commons now, this is it. There's no more, and it's getting worse and worse. So please, I'm surprised it's taking you this long. I mean, let's get at least the phones turned on here, and get some other people in here, not just me. So at least people could call in and you could hear what's going on with the masses, But right now, it's it. This is it. You could, if you go through Antenna TV, you get 3 or 4 channels where people call in and they talk to the Christian nationalists, the evangelic, the American Taliban, the evangelical Christians now, the ones that worship a Nazi Jesus instead of the hippie healer Jesus. But that's another story. And they got telephones there. They're making money hand over fist. Yeah, there's a lot of things that need money in San Francisco, but what could be more important than having a phone call in for people like it used to be? I mean, that it should. And the thing was, when they pulled the tagging our shows, it was supposed to be for until the finances picked up in a year or so. Well, they got never enough to throw any money toward SF Commons. So as I said, and this is like the last straw, getting rid of the telephones now. So I'm saying now, like Mr. Mayor, as I said, you just started, and but first of all, let's talk to the people, get it, watch, what's his name I met once when 215 passed. He lost the election, thank God. He just got out of rehab. I forget his name, but he had a drink in his hand, and we were all celebrating the passing of 215 with hopes that cannabis would be on the healing thing it is. But it was before its time, I guess. And I said to him, I can't remember his name. He's still a supervisor of San Francisco. And I said to him, I have a TV show on public access TV, and I don't watch TV. One of those guys. So watch as a lot of people do, and in all humility, so that's it's like a no-brainer. It's like I say, people wonder why Merrick Garland 2 years ago didn't put Donald Trump in prison. With that first, and because he got death threats. They didn't only threaten him; they threatened his grandchildren. They're like Senator Whitehouse, a Democrat, calls them the killer flying monkeys. These are like really thuggy racketeer, like Al Capone on Valentine's Day. These are guys who will literally kill your grandkids. So, they're never Patrick Henry. I only regret that I have but one life to give to my lose for my country. So Garland wasn't no Patrick Henry. He wasn't dying. He wasn't going to sacrifice his kids, his grandchildren's lives for any constitution. So that's where it's come to now. A civil war is inevitable. And as I said, Mayor, and as I said, I know you're a busy man, but I know you have a lot of friends who probably watch public access TV who will watch this. Talk to them and tell them, man, this is a no-brainer. If not demanding the phones be turned on here, then what you really no respect, as sweet as I could put it, then you're no better than London Breed, man. And I know you are, so do the right thing, no matter what it costs. Get the phones on, so that'll piss off the world. Mayor of San Francisco defies Donald Trump. You sound like the kind of guy, to me, I'm getting the vibes that you would do it. I'm going to do some tarot card later, and I'll ask the cards what you should do. And there's so many healers out there. I remember back in the 80s, there was in Golden Gate Park, and I was living with the asthmatic heiress. We had a house right on Turk, right around the corner from a block or two down from Golden Gate Park. And I would go there, and I always wanted to sit near a heavy-set psychic, because someone told me they have pituitary things, and if you sit where a heavy-set psychic, you'll get a better reading. I got some ass-kicking readings there, I'll tell you. And it's just a few dollars back then, but let's get these psychic fairs going on again. There's so much creative energy, and there's so many people now. Uranus has stimulated a lot of Kundalini third eye energy. A lot of people are waking up now as Uranus is getting ready to leave Taurus and enter Aries. Yeah, there's some. I like Heather, an astrologer. I wrote her name down here. Well, this whole, as I said, to clarify, okay, when Joe Biden just say, well, the past is over, Frank. No, the lessons from the past weren't learned. That's why I'm here. That's why I left my cozy little nest for Gabby. Come down here and talk to you cats and kitties. Okay. when Joe Biden, God bless him, mentioned several times on the microphone was right here, and he'd be talking about this and that, and then he put his head down in shame. I believe he was being respectful, and he'd say, "And trickle down economics never worked." What, Joe? Speak up, man. And he just, I've heard death rattles louder than he would, and Kamala too. She would say in her ladylike, bought and paid for establishment, and trickle down establishment, but nobody mentioned Ronald Reagan. Raygon, Reagan. The middle class, and you're not going to, if Joe Biden had looked in the camera and said, yeah, America was conned. At the end of World War II, they believed a light bulb salesman for General Electric, and because a racist light bulb salesman. Because, there's actual audio tape of recordings of Ronald Reagan as governor talking to President Nixon, joking about how the African heads of countries don't even wear shoes, and they all hawking it up like, I feel sorry for their eternal souls. Have mercy on those sick men. Okay, who was, so they needed someone in there. Because, see, leisure time is... was boring for the morbidly rich, so that's why they got into politics, for kicks and giggles and all that. And then with the rise of the middle class, they were afraid there'd be a lot of middle class people with leisure time, and that would make politics too dangerous for them. So it was a must. They needed to nip that in the bud, because because it was like Ronald Reagan, it was. JFK, Bobby, the Kennedys, Martin Luther King Jr. The middle class was like coming, the Democrats were thriving, and, things were looking good. And then Ronald Reagan, so they needed somebody the boomer, so it was a big con job, and so Donald Trump wasn't the first, he's hopefully the last. They saved the best for last. What did Lenny Bruce said? Dying is the best rush of all. That's why they saved it for last. I love Lenny. But so what's going on is this Ronald Reagan. He funded and armed the right-wing death squads in El Salvador and Nicaragua, opposed civil rights laws that prevented racial discrimination. The worst thing he did was make it possible for corporations to buy back their own stock, ended support for free colleges, waged a war against unions and working class, leading to giving some income inequality, supported exploitation of Mexican workers, cut school lunches for poor kids, and said kids should be eating ketchup because it was a vegetable. No, I lived through that, refused to address the AIDS epidemic until Rock Hudson made his fag hag wife, boyfriend there, and led racist wars on drug discrimination back. It goes on and on and on. So would it have killed Joe Biden to say trickle? It wasn't, no, because then he'd have to say another big con was NASA, and that NASA con is still going on. An entire generation and couple of generations now actually believe in our heart and soul, in their hearts and soul, that our only hope for the United States is for America is to a life on Mars. And a lot of people believe that NASA's are, if they can't, we don't. No, Earth is. Earth is not dying, but she's being murdered. She was being murdered. This is what I was looking for before. Don't depend, this is what Yogananda said, don't depend on death to liberate you from your imperfections. You're exactly the same after death as you were before. Nothing changes. You only give up the body. If you are a thief or a liar or a cheater before death, you don't become an angel merely by dying. If such were possible, then let us all jump in the ocean and become angels at once. Whatever you have made of yourself thus far, so will you be hereafter. And when you reincarnate, that you will bring that same nature with you. To change, you have to make effort. This world is the place to do it. No material object, however beautiful, can make us feel loved. I'll tell you. So this was the two. Even if we blow ourselves up, we'll incarnate on it. There's infinite galaxies. The Big Bang, it's just these NASA's totally out of control. We could have cured so much hunger and suffering in this world, but this NASA is like, I believe JFK said, let's put a man on the moon. Okay, we did it. I don't think he wanted in his work. I don't believe he wanted to us to do what we, had this, here, I have some things written here about what's going on now about the Earth. Oh God, it's not too late, but for the next, I don't believe that we have 4 years. I believe as close as this May. What did I wrote that? The last of the conjunctions of Mars to Pluto. I believe something's going to come about then that's going to involve Mars. And Mars is all about, violence. Well, Mars, if it's not used right, can be violence, and it's also the anger. It's also about anger. So if you're like a lot of people, when they go through a purification process, I always say, be careful you don't throw the best part of you away when you're going through that process. Even Gandhi said his anger is the fuel. The anger is the fuel that got me here today. So I wanted to, before I pick some cards, we got some more time here. Rockets, moonshots, spend it on the have-nots. Yeah, when they were doing all that NASA Man on the Moon thing, there was the Harlem Woodstock, in which they were all talking about how could these taken from the needy and given it to the greedy. Self-pity is easily the most destructive of the non-pharmaceutical narcotics. It's addictive, gives momentary pleasure, and separates the victim from reality. Yeah, so get off the pity pot, Victims don't heal. Look in the mirror and pivot. Dig your soul, dig your feet into the ground. The cost of living is going up and the chance of living is going down. Flip Wilson said that back in the 60s. Don't be brain dead, be life present. Okay. Oh, yeah. Camille Paglia, way back, feminist scholar, said America's society problem isn't firearms. It's the sexually dysfunctional men and women who abuse them. New study links guns and sexual dysfunction. Connection between America's men's experience of their own diminished vitality and proliferation of firearms in American society. Freudian lens the best captures the dual phenomenon of sexual impotence and the quest for potency through more powerful guns. So all these gun freaks probably have teeny peenies, or whatever. Or they can't, get it up, and that's why they have to have pharmaceutical help. So, it's funny. All these ex-Republicans now are selling this relaxant called redoxydazine or something. Well, just quit the can. You can't sleep. Take these. Huckabee's doing this. Right-wing moron, and he's selling these sleepy things now. If you can't sleep, take relaxidasium. If you can't sleep, quit the Klan. Quit the Klan, man. You might be able to sleep better. Empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. God, what's going on? So Mayor Lori, for starters now, I don't want to disrespect you, and I'm not spoiling for a fight or anything, but come on, if you can't see the need for the last is hanging by SF Commons, we're just hanging by a thread here, and all you have to simply do is get the telephone service hooked up. And it's just as important as anything else that's going on. Just as I said, you're dealing with people's minds that are being bombarded by all kinds of, nonsense, nonsense. Yeah, all you have to do is, as I said, when the Nuremberg trial came, and the ones that escaped, the boys from Brazil, they lived happily ever after with all these ill-gotten money they got, all their ill-gotten gains. But the ones they thought, well, they killed the worst ones. No, they didn't. These people are back. All you have to do is look at Stephen Miller, and you can picture the Nazi helmet on him. Elon Musk giving the salute to that just my buddies died in Vietnam. I had a little backpack because for 4 years I had to live in the Lower East Side, fight cockroaches every morning just to get to the kitchen sink, just because the draft board said I had friends that moved to Canada, but I had my draft card, and I managed to stick it out for the 4 years. I would have gone. I don't know what I would have done. They probably would have given me a desk job, I hope. But the fact is I'm not a draft dodger. Donald Trump's only a couple of years older than me. Okay, Lord Almighty, great. I was thinking if I ever have to fill out something and they say religion, I'll have to put Hindu. Brahma, I believe Brahma's the creator, one name for the creator. I like that the best. Okay, let's see what we got here. You notice we have a new microphone. Lovely. And I like it because the other day I got all mixed up. So I'm not spoiling for her fight, but as I said, the past is over. Everybody did what they had to do, as I said, but I'm not making that. I didn't pull that out of my, as I said earlier, this horrible things that Donald Trump's doing, rapid fire right off the gate. These aren't just brain farts, stinky ones. No, these are totally Project 25. This is only the beginning now. So something's going to happen by the end of April when that last Mars opposition. And I pray to God it's nonviolent. And I'm picking 6 cards for you all. 1, 2, for my guides will let me know what you guys need to know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as I said, I made a little song, because, these departments that the government's cutting out, the people voted them in for years. And in San Francisco, for years and years, we had our sacred departments, the noise pollution, it was all, it goes on and on and on. And they all made the residents happy. And then, as I said, London Bree comes along. So I made a song about London Bree, okay. Where does it go? She gave the departments 40 whacks. And when the job was truly done, she hopped a plane from Maui to play in the sun. Yeah, London Bree took an axe and gave the departments we love so much 40 whacks. And when she did the job so well, she jumped on a plane to Maui and played. But see, Maui burnt itself rather than have her land there. They'd rather go up in fire than have her evil energy there. Well, I'm not just picking it. I've forgiven. Only the weak can never forgive. But I've seen the real London breed. When no one knew I was looking, I was seeing her. And I've seen deep into her soul, and I knew. I know what I'm talking about. She's troubled. Sincere stupidity and conscientious stupidity and sincere ignorance. And I'm just the facts. I'm not calling names. I'm not degrading race or anything. She didn't go to medical school. She wouldn't even listen to the professors, the people who lived through and we all said, cannabis can get it. We all predicted what was going to happen. And then once again, this fundamental thing. So once again, you're dealing with the effect. It's cause and effect. Let's get to the cause. Carl Jung said these people need me the spiritual experience. Back when 215 passed, what we were doing, the cannabis places, we were getting groups of people to seniors in the Tenderloin and getting them to grow a plant, in their own little apartment. They could grow enough cannabis bud to keep them stoned the whole season, but that all ended. And there were people who went in and water them for them, classes on how to cook with cannabis. That all ended. Cannabis, this thing about the Constitution was written on cannabis, and this thing about written freedom of happiness, or to expand our consciousness, for a lot of people, that's our happiness. And then I looked it up. Well, the Constitution, the finished product, was written on parchment, the one that's in the museums. But many copies that were done, the drafts to that, were all done on hemp. Hemp was, I said, pretty much a given. Ben Franklin smoked it. It wasn't until Nixon with his thing about hippies. He told the National Guard to kill students at Kent State. And so, as I said, this thing with Donald Trump now, Don the Con, it started way back with Ronald Reagan conning a whole generation of World War II veterans, thinking he was this Hollywood, this GI who sold them this bill of goods, and it was an experiment. Everybody, they were calling themselves Democratic Republicans back then, and I would talk to these guys. I was old. I was in my 30. I was old enough then, and they would all say, "Relax, Frank. It's an experiment. If it's not working, you'll change it back." Well, it's not working. It's been 30-something years now. Let's. So as I said, shame on you, Kamala Harris, for not saying, trickle down didn't work, and it's all because of Ronald Reagan. So let's get somebody out there with who could point it out and explain to people how the exact numbers, how the chart with the middle class was up here in the high 60s, and that scared the pants out of the idle, morbidly rich. They needed some. And you see these ads with these, when America was in a time of crisis, great leaders emerged from the Republican Party, Abe Lincoln, and then they throw Ronald Reagan in there. No, there was no crisis. He was the crisis. Oh, God. And I was talking about trans channelers, and there's this guy, they're all over Europe now and the United States, and I've seen them on YouTube because I'm into astrology. I use it. I'm a healer who uses the stars as guidance, and I noticed a lot of them have these, and they're good trans channelers. But the message is the same. The universe is a beautiful thought. So if you want to live happy, don't entertain bad thoughts. Keep your thoughts good. That's a full-time job. Don't let your mind get hijacked. All during the day, my mind, and I'm constantly getting my mind back into here. Okay, what we got now, where we are right now, our heart could hold a lot more than we think it can. Yeah. Keep on going with it, and you'll get more than money can buy. You'll find happiness that it makes you cry. What did Camus say? Live life and love life so much it makes you cry. Camus said that. Okay, where we are right now is the money. We all want the money. What's the bottom line there? Okay, it's gonna, it takes what it takes, but I don't believe this is going to take. I really refuse to believe that after Mars goes direct in a few weeks, and then by the end of April, when that last opposition comes from Mars, I hope it's nonviolent, but I believe, I'm not going to limit the universe. I mean, first there was a mountain, then there was the mountain, then there is. It's like things happen. You know, oh yeah, I also want to talk about, yeah, the spring's coming, summer's coming, social events. Another thing, Mr. Laurie, Mayor Laurie now, the sound thing, the sound's out of control. Another botched thing the terrible London Breed did is she connected in her twisted mind, vibrant city is a loud city, the louder the better. And it's out of control now. When I was at 19, my friends took me to Lincoln Center. It was a double a concert, Procol Harum and Donovan, and it was a beautiful sound. I was like, wow, the best concert I ever went to. And then a few weeks later, some guys took me on Bleecker Street to see The Who. I couldn't hear for a year. I think it was a year later. I was walking around. I was in acting school then. While I was waiting for the draft, I took acting lessons and worked off Broadway. I had an agent. Anyway, what happened was my ears unpopped, and that was a year. So I mean, our hearing is a vital power, and it's, you don't have to be a Dodger to know that these. And I believe divide and conquer was one of London Bree's things. She wants loud. She wanted these fairs to. She didn't want people that say, "Wow, I haven't seen you in so long. Let's talk." No, she wanted to be so loud people could just not even talk to each other. There's still some fairs like the Fillmore Street Jazz. They're cool, but you know, for the most part, South of Market. If Rainbow Grocery, if you're in the back of Rainbow Grocery, you can still, your ears will hurt from what's going on 10 blocks away. That's how loud. And everybody that lives, I mean, everybody's upset with this. And it's all London Breed's idea of, well, if it's so loud, it represents, maybe in your twisted world, Miss Breed, not in a healthy person. So I'm glad I got that out there. I don't have to think about that anymore. Because in no time at all, it's going to be summer. You know, the summer of love was one summer. That was it. Okay, let's make 2025 the summer of love in San Francisco. The summer where we got a mayor who understands cannabis is good medicine. And it was only, you know, sick politicians. Yeah, we got to make a decision now. This is what's going for us. You know, this is what's going for us now. We've been hoodwinked now. We've been hiding our hearts. It's time now to put our swords down, or give our mind a break, and just listen to our heart, listen to our gut, and say, yeah, this is BS, man. Let's undo NASA, man. These, you know, and then we got Elon, this Nazi, literal Nazi. I mean, my buddies that are dead now died when in their teens for this. So this could happen, but I'm angry only to fuel, and you know, I don't want to lose it. I didn't have a frontal lobotomy. I just woke up. See, that's it. Uranus is the awakener now, so it takes what it takes. Okay, what's going on against us is we're afraid of knowledge. We've been, I don't know, somehow dumbing down America took something about now. We've seen knowledge and reason as a hideous dysfunction, deformity. Frank Zappa said that we see intelligence as a physical deformity. No, mind is a wonderful thing now. It's got a control. I'm getting a message from our guys now. They want me to tell you, use the dream state. None of this Caligon take me away stuff. You know, do this like I released today. Don't take all these troubles into bed with you and leave them all at the end of your bed. Pick one particular thing, and then say, okay, well, help me with this one thing. And then be surprised how you wake up feeling better. You know, as I said, so many times these people overdose from drugs, and, you know, Heath Ledger there. Why didn't he smoke some indica? That'll knock him out. Okay, buddies, I think we have a couple more. Let me see. Let's have a couple more. Okay, so Mr. Mayor, start getting a committees to talk, do some research. Just ask one or two doctors about how harmful it is, and get some law. People want to be governed. They don't want to be run amok and hurt themselves. They want a mayor who's saying, no, I know better now, and doctors have convinced me that you're making yourself deaf. You'll thank me later. Do like a monk thing. I'm going to outlaw loud, crazy. You can still have a wonderful time with, you know, but none of these like hear you, you know, where your ears actually hurt. They thank you for that. They thank you for that, Mayor Laurie. because you understand. I believe you really do. Okay, and now I'm going to pick. Oh, this card just popped right up. Yeah, this is what's going on. This is the masses. So yeah, this is it now. And get off phones, turn. I can't say that enough. And I believe you will do the right thing. I believe you. I've seen you. Whenever time you're on TV, I check you out. And I go, yeah, this is a bright guy now. And as I said, your intentions are good, but you're listening to the wrong people, and they're all the people that caused this mess are now the people that are telling you how to get. No, you got to listen to people that London Breed wouldn't listen to when 2015 passed, and we're still around, and we'd come out of the woodwork to help. But put it out there if anybody have some. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk more about this in my next show. Okay, well, I had fun, and I'm not, as I said, the last thing I'm doing is spoiling for a fight. But that guy, what was his name? One supervisor. I went to his what was it called? His town hall. It was on Webster Street, and the first thing I said to him in front of everybody in that little auditorium of the school, I said. Something about London Breed took an axe to all these departments. And he immediately started screaming and yelling to try to drown me out. Well, I had a voice coach when I was an actor, and they teach you how to project from your diaphragm so they could hear you on the third balcony. So, so as I said, I listened to this this Nazi Musk with no brains, reincarnated Nazi, and he calls his department Doge, like in Loge. It's like you picture going to a nice Radio City music hall, and you'll say, is that Loge or orchestra or fifth balcony if you're poor? I used to get a $1 stand-up seat in the back 10 minutes after everything started when I used to pass Carnegie Hall. No, but he calls it Doge. These guys are having their, these aren't brain farts, even though they smell like them. Now, these are definitely, as Project 24, as I said, they warned us, nobody read it, and now it's here. I think by the end of May, when Pluto is opposed to, and I wrote down, it's going to be April of 26, Jupiter will align with Mars in Leo. Next year. Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. Yeah, it's like in Aquarius, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then truth will rule the planet. And this is the time of the. I love you guys. Okay, well, I'm going to pack it in for now. And thank you for Bayvac. You did what you did. You were taking orders from London Breed, and I'm not harboring any ill will. But let's get this ship on right now, and let's hang on to this. The only thing. All the radio stations. How many musicians are out of work? It's just all the trouble, the financial trouble the city's in. They're all legitimate, but this is more legitimate because this is it. This is like the last dodo bird. I was in Paris when and as soon as we were unpacking, it came on all the news that the last dodo bird had died. And I looked at my buddy and I said, "Wow, another species going extinct." So, okay, I didn't want to end with that, but this is one species that doesn't want to go extinct. Well, anyway, I love you. I'm going to clear the energy now. If you're angry, don't be so quick to just put yourself down for that. Give you a pat on the back for being alive. If you're not angry, man, you're not paying attention. But let's just put that anger. Let it fuel something. Get involved. It's going to be easier when everything goes into Aries as we leave the Piscean age. There's this weird overlapping there. But when everything shifts from water and earth to fire and air, Aries, It's going to be great for Aries, score. It's going to be good for everybody. It's good. It's just, but right now, as I said, there's. If we didn't have Donald Trump, we'd have to invent him. This is not. He's just the latest of the con job that's been going on since. I'm not going to say JFK because I don't think he wanted NASA to be like they are now. Their only real value is to ward off asteroids that were aiming for the Earth. That's it. But right now they're just got a blank check. I mean, they got the gravy train, and the worst thing is they've convinced generations. Kids now want to. There's no life on Mars. This is wake up, grandparents. You love your toddler grandchildren. Get involved. Do some research. We're as far out of space as we're ever gonna get. I love this planet. I love life, and I want you to love it as much as I do. And let's let Earth, as I said, is being murdered, and every living thing on it is. Oh yeah, they held up a plastic spoon around this big, I guess, on TV. That's how much plastic is in every brain. They do autopsies, I guess, and melt down a brain. So we're already known as the species that, these were the plastic people. They ruled the planet for a few thousand years. Yeah, there was life on Mars once, and everybody knows that. As I said, these guys that are making money at NASA, and they know what's real. They know. Okay, if you want to email me, PsychicFrank11, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm here the first and the third Friday, taping shows for you all, and of course my YouTube channel. I love you guys. Okay. Fade away, Frank. It says fade overlay. Bye. Hug a tree and ask for help at sleep at night. Angels, there's so many unemployed angels now, and they're so chomping at the bit to help you. All you have to do is surround yourself with the love and light of the Holy Spirit. Nothing to do with any organized religion. You are your own universe, and they will help you. They will help you. I love you. I love you. I love you. No matter what shape you're in or stage of involvement, just don't give up. Bye. Okay, this got it. I don't know how to shut this off. Okay, here we go.